It's September now, and goose season and dove season is in full swing, and we dissect Sunday hunting arguments in Pennsylvania. So, hey guys, I'm Brian McLaughlin, and this is our chief editor, Nolan Duncan. He's here with us today. He had to help me set up all this stuff for our podcast we're going to be doing. So, we're going to be doing this, and if successful, we'll go ahead and do more podcasts. Like I said, today we're just going to cover what's going on with the goose and the dove numbers in Pennsylvania here. And then we're also going to address the Sunday hunting as it's pretty much been a war going on in social media lately. So I thought we'd address some of the arguments that for and against it. But provisionally, I'm pretty for Sunday hunting. I don't really see any reasons to keep it. We'll get into that later. Are you for or against it, Nolan?
Well, honestly, I need to look into it a little bit more because I'm still new into hunting and everything. I feel that Sunday hunting, if you're able to kill a coyote or you could shoot crows on Sundays, right?
Crows on Sundays. It depends. There's actually a season for it on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
So why is it such a big deal? The one thing is religious stuff to me. If people are so upset about it interfering with religious things, then why doesn't it bother them whenever people are going crow hunting or coyote hunting? That just seems like counterintuitive.
Right. Yeah. No. And that's actually one of these arguments that this guy makes. One of the only writings that I've found about someone who wants to actually keep the Sunday hunting ban is written by Paul Shaw in February 12, 2016. And I think we picked this one. We're just going to go through each of the arguments and dissect them and give our opinions on them. But first, I want to talk to you about the goose season right now that's going on. Obviously, we had a really good first day. It was awesome. But honestly, there's not the numbers that there was last year. Last year, we absolutely slayed them out. It was actually in undergrad still in Slippery Rock, and we did great. We got quite a few bands, killed dozens of birds. It was awesome. I don't really know. Have you spoken to anybody that says there's a lot of birds? Because there's very few pockets, obviously, except for the one goose area that has a whole bunch of birds. But right now, especially down south here, there's really not a lot of birds. Have you been seeing any even flying?
I haven't been seeing any flying, to be honest. Before early season started, I saw them everywhere, literally crossing the street, just being in the middle of the road and everything. As soon as September hit, it just seems like they don't want to be anywhere around us.
Yeah, because they got shot at. They're starting to get smart. And, that one spot we've been hunting, I've hunted it twice already. We killed birds twice. It was hunted another time, but some people we know that we met actually on Monday, the opening day, they hunted it and killed two more. And then more people who actually didn't have permission started sky busting. I don't think they killed anything, so that's good for us. But anyways, yeah, so the bird numbers are kind of down. We're still waiting for a lot of the farmers to cut their corn, and then maybe we'll start seeing more birds. So that's basically the goose season as it is right now, at least in Western Pennsylvania. Eastern, I have no idea how it is. There's a lot more birds out there.
Yeah, I'm
usually.
sure.
So, yeah, especially where Jim Kelly is.
If we went up to Pymatuning or something, closer to a main and water.
Yeah, anywhere in Erie and stuff. But that's honestly the one goose area, and I think it basically. I think that's terrible. Even if it was two goose, people might actually go out, but one goose, no one's going. I hope the PAGC changes that here sometime here in the very near future.
Right.
So
going back to Sunday hunting, though, what are some of the things that you feel really would be beneficial, or we could play devil's advocate, even say what would be the bad sides of Sunday hunting?
Well, I mean, like I said, we're going to go through this article here by Mr. Shaw, and he goes through multiple things. And even when it comes to non-hunters, there's an economic factor to having hunting here in Pennsylvania, and they want to say that all of the economic stimulus made by people who do non-hunting activities would actually be greater. I actually disagree, because how often do you actually see people going even in public areas and going and doing these different things? They might actually bring a couple of kashi bars from home, but when it comes to hunting, I know people would take weekend trips out of state to come and hunt in Pennsylvania, as they often do. They just can't hunt on Sundays. They would do it a lot more if they could hunt on Sundays. And that's not only just people coming here just to buy ammo or something like that. These people come here, they rent hotels. They go out to eat, they do all these different things, and that's a great economic stimulus. That would come to our state. People are moving, they go out of state to go hunt. People go to West Virginia, people go to Ohio, that. So I think it's that we're actually losing money not by having Sunday hunting. I think, it's very important that we join the other. I think there's only Maine and Massachusetts and basically us who don't allow hunting. I think we allow like very small amount of hunting, like you said, crows and foxes when it's fox season, and also coyotes. But that's basically it. Every other state, including those religious states that we're talking about, that use people want to use religion as an excuse to have people not hunt. That's something that every other state has done, except basically us and 2 other states. So so that was one of the main things that they talked about in this article. And also he says something about, we're worried about people getting shot. Like, we need to share the woods. We're worried about people getting shot. Well, if you want to share the woods with us, you want to get, then basically your policy position is to not share the woods with us, because you want one day to go out and walk around with your dog or something like that, or like go hiking, and that's fine if you want to do that. Like, we can actually coexist. I've been on hunting days where people are running through the woods, and obviously you want to be smart about it. If it's rifle season, wear an orange cap or something. But people want to say you can't even hunt when it's bow season, right? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you mean to tell me that you are afraid to go hiking because some people are sitting in a tree stand with your bow? All you're going to do is ruin people's hunts. Which I guess is your right, but you can. That's fine. I don't understand why people say you can't hunt at all if you're worried about safety. If it's bow season, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. And especially when they want to, like, it's not only private land. This article says that you shouldn't be able to hunt because you're afraid of getting shot in the woods in general. If I have a piece of private property, are you really going to tell me, or use the state to tell me, that I can't sit on my own property and that you're not even allowed to be on anyways and hunt it? It doesn't make it. See, he makes a lot of people even online make these points, and then you bring up these things and they just get mad at you. Yeah. And I think that's obviously every, even like actual political issues, people don't want to, if you make a point, they just get mad, but that's another story.
It is. Like, I've seen that argument a lot on Facebook. It's always those keyboard warriors that say, hey, you should, like, I can't stand it because, like, I want to walk my dog and everything. And I'm like, listen, you have so many other opportunities to walk your dog. You can't
throughout the year,
throughout the day. Even, you don't even have to, like, after, like, a certain time of the day, hunters aren't going to be out. Who hunts like all day, like past like the sunset? Only coyote hunters. And that, like, honestly, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the only time you really need to worry about getting injured while you're hunting is if it's actually rifle season and you're in somewhere like that. People hunt often. Like, if you see a whole bunch of trucks, okay, I wouldn't even go in there, if I wasn't doing anything hunting, because you're just going to screw up people's hunts. Like, I understand that you want to go there, but there's people like North Park, there's like near Pittsburgh. Yeah. There's so many different places where, believe me, I tried to bow hunt there. They just will not let you. There's so many different opportunities. If you really wanted to share the woods, you would do something like that on, like, on those that very few. Like, how long is rifle season? It's only a couple weeks long. You're telling me that you need those Sundays, and you're going to tell me that I can't hunt on my private land? It just doesn't add up.
No, it really doesn't, because, like, it gives hunters more of an opportunity to, like, all of us, like, are mostly working class people. We're working literally every day of the week except the weekends, and to open up Sundays would, like you mentioned before, not only just be a stimulus to the economy, it would just be fun overall for people to have an extra chance during the week to actually, shoot that buck that they always wanted. Or
right. And people want to say, oh, we need to shorten the season because there'd be, more hunting days. Well, that's fine, because even if that was the case, I would still double my opportunities to go hunting, especially on the weekends. Like, me, I'm a law student, and from Monday to Friday, really don't have an opportunity to go hunting. So you're going to tell me I get one day out of the week to hunt because of your opinion? I think that's terrible. Additionally, as we are heirs of the outdoors, we want to get new people introduced into the outdoors. And right now, I even looked up the sales of all these licenses, and it looks to see like resident adults in 2008 were 670,000, and now in 2018, 10 years later, it's 561,000. Resident juniors have actually been cut in half. Since 2008 there was 40,000, and now there's 19,000 in 2018. So that's basically the reason we exist, is to keep this youth engaged, keep them doing something that isn't exactly drugs or anything, any of these bad things that you can go and do. Like when I was a kid, I actually stopped playing football and baseball, and I actually took up band, and that's where we spent a lot of time together in band, because band took up the least amount of time and I can go hunting. Right. I had like all my time to do that instead of getting in trouble. So obviously there's a great vast reduction in hunting licenses. Fur taker licenses have actually, I think they've actually gone up, which is actually pretty cool. But yeah, just the amount of the decrease, not even in Pennsylvania, but nationally, of hunting licenses are going down, and that's basically why we exist. And that's 52 days out of the year. If you ban Sunday hunting, that's 52 days out of the year that we can't take people and introduce them to the sport. And additionally, I would argue, I mean, this isn't applicable to like 99% of people, but we are official business now, and obviously all of our proceeds go to our mentors and getting gear and new camera equipment or whatnot. And I know, like Wired Outdoors, Jason Say over there, that's 52 more days that we are not allowed to conduct business because of a state policy. And I think that's also should not actually even be legal. And like I want to say this, Mr. Shaw, he kept saying about how afraid he was that to get hit by get hurt by another hunter and hunting on Sundays. I actually looked up in the National Park Service, their statistics regarding injuries and fatalities while hiking. You're actually comparable as likely to be injured or killed while hiking, and roughly 860 people were injured. Anywhere from 860 people a year are injured while hiking, and 40 to 65 people are killed while hiking annually in the U.S. And comparably, 1,000 people are injured and less than 75 are killed while hunting annually in the United States and Canada. So the numbers are basically the same. So that's actually his point is actually irrelevant there. And we already covered archery season, duck season, where you're basically, I don't really think anyone really gets no hikers are going to get shot when you're hunting ducks. I find that really hard to believe that would actually
I find that
happen.
very hard to believe.
So the only time that he actually has an argument when it comes to that is rifle season. Like I said, that's like 2-3 weeks, whatever. But honestly, it says the 85. One of these articles I pulled up, it's 85% of these people who are shot when it's rifle season, or actually all throughout the year, is they're self-inflicted. So I don't really see where his argument is there.
Right. If like that doesn't. Like that's not like manslaughter. That's nothing negligent. That's purely just accidental.
Right. Yeah. I like I said, there's I was gonna take a whole bunch of time and read this entire thing, but I'm just trying to condense it down to some of the main arguments that people make. And like we already mentioned, like I don't understand it, even when it comes to public property, there's the state game lands that are actually for game, and people want to say they want to hike there. No, you can go to a park. We've already covered that. Additionally, private land, I should be able to do with what I want on my land as long as the season's open. 47 other states already agree with this, so there's a lot of support in other states, and there's been no negative incidents. Like he keeps wanting to cite these negative possibilities. Well, they just don't exist because 47 other states have already done it. They've been doing it for a long time.
Like, and you see like the process isn't really that much different than in other states. You don't see like a negative like amount of statistics in all these other states regarding like Sunday hunting.
Right, so there's no difference at all.
Yeah, why in the world is Pennsylvania such a black sheep then? Like, are we as citizens in Pennsylvania like just as unequal as all these other states? Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't. And like, obviously, this wasn't in the article, but people keep saying like, oh, it's always been that way. It's always got to be that way. And like, this law has been here, I think, since 1873, and up till like, I don't even know the 50s, 60s, even further than that, you weren't even allowed to do anything on Sundays because everything is closed. This is no longer the case, even from a non-religious perspective. You couldn't go to stores and you couldn't hunt, and that was just how it is. That's no longer the case. So therefore, obviously, the law needs updating since 1873. Find me another law, obviously besides like the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, which is like obviously 100 years before that, but find me a law that something like this that's been the same since 1873 and hasn't been changed. I don't really know if you'd be able to. If you have, go ahead and send us a message and maybe we'll address it. But obviously I think the laws are archaic. And honestly, when it comes to people who are non-religious, that's not me. I actually, believe in God, and I know you obviously are very religious also. But I should be able to go hunt if I want, especially on my own property. And then because Jim and his family down the street go to church every morning, that should actually be completely irrelevant. Because
are you referring to Jim Kelly?
No, not Jim Kelly. No, I just picked a random name. Tom. Okay, we'll go with Tom.
We'll go with Tom.
Sorry, Jim. We love you, buddy. But honestly, or unless you're all these religious services in the woods, I really don't see why that should be, an argument against that.
Really, it's ridiculous. Like. It, like you mentioned before, having a law that's like it is over 100 years old, essentially. It's not up to date with current times. Back in the day, people didn't even have electric, and they had no ways of communicating between hunts. so to speak. So why in the world are we not evolving with like the modern technology and all these other circumstances? Why in the world are we stuck behind like all these archaic laws? Why can't we, open up these days so that way we can actually enjoy it?
Right. And another argument that he made here, he says hunters themselves are not united against Sunday hunting, pretty much saying that the only 8% of people in Pennsylvania right now are hunters, and about 50% support it. So it's about 4% that actually support Sunday hunting, 4% of the population. And my argument is, why does that matter?
Yeah.
If you want to use the state to basically push a policy position that prevents me from doing what I love and basically conducting business, I think that that is terrible. And especially these people online, they want to use the state just in this instance to basically do what I just told you, to prevent other people from doing things. But if you get on like their profiles on like Facebook, they espouse completely different opposite political views when it comes to pretty much any other thing. So I ask them, so why is it just Sunday hunting?
Yeah, exactly.
And they usually don't have an answer. They're like, well,
right. They
freeze up and they don't really have an answer.
Deter from the main answer.
Yeah, I'm always against the state forcing pretty much anybody to do anything if it's completely harmless. If it's this is basically what it is if I would hunt on Sundays, that is a mala prohibita crime. That means it's only illegal because someone says it's illegal. It's not mala in se, which means that society in general has deemed it to be a terrible thing, such as murder. So like I said, I'm against the state violating basically what I contend to be our rights to hunt on Sundays. And because it cuts our hunting days in half, as we've already mentioned. And a lot of people, one last point I think we're going to make, unless you have more, is vacations. People are like, oh, well, if you want to hunt, you just take vacations. But it doesn't apply to everyone. Like I said, I can't miss any days in law school or else I will basically fail out. The ABA makes it so I can't skip these days.
Right.
And okay, what if I want to use that vacation in the summer to take my, my family or do anything I want with my vacation days? Now, not only do you want to use the state to tell me when I can and can't hunt, but you want to tell me when I should take my vacation days.
Yeah.
Exactly. Why do you have to be that, into my life? Why do you care that much? If I want to go behind, and fling an arrow and hopefully, take something home in October, is that really what you want the state to do? I really don't.
I don't agree with I don't agree with people saying then that just take vacation days, because we all live different work lives. Everybody has a different schedule. It's not all the same. But Sunday hunting, the Sunday in general, it just opens up more opportunity. And like you said, why in the world does the state have to control? There should be a separation of state and church and state, obviously. Mm-hmm. So Sunday blue laws shouldn't even make any sense in this kind of situation.
Correct.
So why would it make sense? Why does it make sense to get rid of, have Sundays off limits, but every other day, is fine? And like you said, we really, they're taking our vacation. They're taking our personal time when it could just be a simple day off that we have. Hey, Sundays just so happens to be my day off. I would love to enjoy my Sunday just going out hunting and just having a good time. So,
right. And if they want to really say, hey, we can share the woods, then okay, you can't hunt, then you can't hike on Saturdays, and I'll go ahead and we'll have that. But we would never ask that for that. We would never want the state to prohibit someone from that happening. If you want to have one day that where hikers can have the woods, let's make that day Wednesday so we can so on our weekends we can hunt Saturdays and Sundays.
Do you think the G word plays a big role in the politics of this? The G word, right?
Oh no, you got to fill me in, buddy. Shoot a blanket.
Just firearms in general.
Oh, obviously, we've already went over the statistics. You are just as likely to get injured or killed and hiking than you are hunting.
Yeah.
But there's no difference.
Do you think it's just the fear factor though between politicians? Because I feel like politicians really don't empathize with hunters. Not too many. I know Bernstein does it. He hunts, right?
Yeah, Bernstein hunts.
Yeah,
I've actually hunted on his land for coyotes once. It was fun.
He's very empathetic to the whole situation, but people in Harrisburg or just in the country, as far as politicians go, I don't really see that communication between hunters too much.
Well, because honestly, there's like I said, we're a small amount of the population. They have bigger things to deal with, whether it's guns, which obviously there's a difference between the Second Amendment and hunting. Like it wasn't made for that. But honestly, if you think that we should be able to hunt on Sundays, that's a good point. We need to put pressure on our elected officials. Obviously, we know some of our elected officials that we talk to all the time. They are definitely for it. They were even for the one bill that was just passed now that would make trespassing laws like you'd get cracked down on a lot more if you trespassed. But also this year we're going to have 3 days that we can hunt on Sundays, but one is going to be an archery season, one's going to be rifle season, and one's going to be dictated by the PAGC. But I actually I don't really care,
I don't either.
It's all or nothing basically. Like it's good, I will use those Sundays to hunt, but why just 3?
Yeah.
Like, what's the rationale behind that? Is it compromise? You can compromise, but the statistics are still here. The facts are still here. And like I said, 47 other states have Sunday hunting these 3 days that we're going to pick. I just don't really see a point in it, to be honest.
Yeah. Since I'm still like new to the whole thing, like I'm only 3 years into like technically hunting. I'm still stuck in the middle. Like I will not mind hearing the other side of the argument and seeing like how people, like if there's a rationale to the whole thing of like, hey, maybe Sunday hunting isn't necessarily a good idea, I'm all ears. Mm-hmm. But like, everything that we just talked about makes complete sense. It doesn't make sense for the state to control what we do. I mean, it's a liberty that we should cherish, having the ability to be out on Sundays. And I keep saying it, but just having that freedom of enjoying the sport, going outdoors, it builds community. It builds like what's the word? Like a relationship with fellow hunters and even camaraderie. Necessarily with even youth hunting, because think of it this way: kids, they're off on Saturdays and Sundays. That gives them an extra time in the week to actually, hey, let's get them out hunting.
I know
on
people
Sunday.
who specifically cut class in high school, just to go hunting. Because they knew they only had Saturdays. Like, oh, if I only have Saturdays, well, I mean, I guess that's like not really a crazy argument, but the stuff actually happens. Like people cut class because they know they can't hunt. They can only hunt one day on the weekend. They want to hunt more, so they cut class. And that's not actually fair to them either. So a lot of people are in the same boat where they can't take vacations during the week during hunting season, and they're going to continue to miss out on one of those days. Like I said, 52 days out of the year that you're barred from doing that, just because of someone else's opinion. And I think that's wrong.
Yeah, I think it's completely unacceptable. And honestly, I'd rather have a kid wake up in the morning on a Sunday and hunt than wake up on a Monday trying to hunt. Well, they can't even do that. Technically not. Like I wasn't hunting in high school, but
right.
Like I'd rather have them not skip.
It happens.
Yeah, I'd rather not have them skip their education. And that's a good incentive. That's a very good point to bring up. It really would help the youth in that kind of regard.
Right. But I don't mean to keep, blabbering on and going like running in circles and everything like that. But we've addressed everything in this article. And I think we've addressed every anti-Sunday hunting, pro-Sunday hunting argument. If we missed anything, go ahead and let us know. We can actually give you a response in the comments. I know we're probably going to take a lot of heat from this because I know there's so many people, like I said, we are 50-50 split among hunters about hunting in Pennsylvania on Sundays. So, if it costs us to lose, a little bit of support, that's fine. We're giving our honest opinion here. And, we have a right to disagree. If you disagree, that's fine. We actually want to hear from you. Like we just mentioned, we're open to pretty much any kind of argument here. So is there anything else that you kind of want to go over? Are we pretty good here?
I think we're all good. This was a very successful run for our first episode. Thanks guys for listening. And Brian, you can go ahead and do what you need to do.
Hey, so honestly, everything that we do here is all because of our support from our followers. So if you can go ahead and the biggest thing we're trying to do is get a lot of subscriptions on YouTube. We have, I think, over 7,000 followers on Instagram, or about 2,000 on Facebook. But I think we're around 380 on YouTube right now, and that's the biggest thing. If we actually get more subscriptions on YouTube, the more our sponsors will give us support. So we can go ahead and we can do giveaways with the more stuff, with the more followers we have, and we can also get more gear and go ahead and give those to our mentored youth so we can take them hunting, hopefully in the next few years on Sundays. So that's pretty much everything for episode 1 of Heirs Podcast Sunday Hunting, and enjoy y'all's week. And hopefully if you like this, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. And if you didn't like it, tell us why, and maybe we'll stop doing them. But for now, I thoroughly enjoyed this one, and we'll see how it goes. And That's about all.
Oh, we'll never stop doing it.
Nope, never stop doing
Never
it.
stop. We'll do it one way or another.
Okay.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your week.
See you guys.